This morning, we're not going to wrestle your mind into silence. We're going to offer it something it rarely gets at the start of the day. Safety, not the kind that pretends nothing is wrong, but the kind that says, I'm here with you, and we can take this one moment at a time. If your thoughts woke up before you did, if they began arranging problems in neat little stacks, if they started replaying a conversation from yesterday or rehearsing one you haven't even had yet, you're not alone. Your mind learned to move fast for a reason. It learned to scan, to predict, to double-check. It may be trying to love you the only way it knows how, by staying on guard. And still, sweet one, you deserve a gentler beginning. Let your attention settle on something simple and ordinary, the weight of your body against the bed or chair, the feel of the air touching the inside of your nose, the quiet pressure of your feet against the floor. Nothing to achieve here, just one honest point of contact with this morning. You might notice your mind tugging you away. A to-do list, a worry, a memory. That tug is not a failure. That tug is simply the old habit of running. Today, we're practicing a new habit, returning. Overthinking can feel like responsibility. Like if you keep turning the problem over, you'll finally find the perfect answer and never feel discomfort again. But life isn't a math equation, and your heart isn't a worksheet. Sometimes the mind loops because it wants certainty, and sometimes it loops because it wants reassurance, and sometimes it loops because it's afraid you'll be hurt if you relax. So let's speak to that part of you with kindness, not with lectures, not with force, with a steady, loving voice that doesn't argue with the storm. It simply becomes shelter. Here is a gentle truth to begin with. You do not have to solve your life before breakfast. Let that land. You don't have to solve your whole life. You don't have to predict every outcome. You don't have to be 10 steps ahead to be worthy of peace. You can be responsible without being relentless. You can be thoughtful without being trapped in thought. You can care deeply and still be calm. Today, we're choosing one next kind step, not the whole plan, not the entire map, just the next kind step. Maybe that step is making your tea. Maybe it's washing your face. Maybe it's opening a window for one fresh breath of air. Maybe it's simply sitting for 30 seconds and letting your shoulders drop by one tiny degree. I want you to hear this. Beginning gently is not laziness. Beginning gently is wisdom. A morning ritual isn't a magic spell. It's an agreement you make with yourself. It's a small way of saying, I matter enough to start in peace. So this is your vow for today, not a dramatic vow, a quiet one, a vow that doesn't require perfection. Today I make a quiet vow to return to myself again and again without punishment. When your mind starts sprinting, you don't need to chase it. You can notice it, you can name it, you can soften your face, and you can come back. There is another truth line for you, short and strong. Thoughts are visitors, not authorities. A thought can knock loudly and still not be invited in. A thought can sound urgent and still not be necessary right now. A thought can be familiar and still not be helpful. You don't have to obey every sentence that appears in your mind. You can read it, and you can set it down. Sometimes overthinking sounds like, what if I mess up? Sometimes it sounds like, what if they're disappointed? Sometimes it sounds like, what if I never figure this out? And sometimes it sounds like, I should have known better. When you hear those lines, you can gently say, ah, that's the spiral. Not with shame, with recognition, like noticing a well-worn path in the grass. And then you can offer yourself a softer statement, not a fake one, not a shiny one you can't believe, a softer one that keeps you in reality. Instead of, I have to figure it all out right now, you might try, I can take one step and the next step will become clear. Instead of, I can't handle this, you might try, I can handle this moment. Instead of, something bad will happen, you might try, I don't know the future, and I can meet it as it comes. Here's a simple affirmation you can hold like a warm mug in your hands. I can notice a thought and let it pass. I do not have to follow it. Let your mind hear that. Let your body hear that. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them. And here is a gentle question for you, one that doesn't demand an answer, only an opening. What if, just for this morning, you didn't need to prove anything to deserve peace? What if peace is not a prize at the end of perfect performance, but a home you can return to now? Overthinking often comes with a harsh inner voice, a voice that interrogates you like a judge, a voice that says, why are you like this? A voice that says, you should be better by now. But the mind relaxes when the heart stops yelling at it. Let's practice a kindness that interrupts the loop, a kindness that isn't fluffy, a kindness that's practical. Imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you truly love on a difficult morning. You wouldn't shame them for being human. You wouldn't demand they become flawless by noon. You would reassure them. You would steady them. So let your inner voice become that steady friend. Say quietly inside, my dear, I see you trying. Thank you for caring. We can slow down now. This is an affirmation you can return to all day. I speak to myself like someone I love. Notice what happens when you choose that. Even if your thoughts don't instantly stop, the temperature inside you changes, the tightness loosens, the urgency softens. Your whole system doesn't need to be explained. It just needs to be met with gentleness. And now, let me offer you a metaphor for your morning. Your attention is like a small lantern in a big room. Where it points is what your day begins to feel like. If it points only at fear, the room looks full of shadows. If it points at one steady truth, you start to see the door, the chair, the window, the simple ways forward. You don't need to light the whole room. You only need to light the next step. So today, we choose one anchor, not 10 alarms, not 100 checks, one anchor. An anchor can be a word you choose, a word like steady, a word like soft, a word like here, a word like peace, or even enough. And an anchor can be a place you return to, like the feeling of your hands, the steadiness of your feet, the rise and fall of your breath. One steady anchor can do more than 100 frantic checks. When you catch yourself jumping ahead, Come back to your anchor word. When you catch yourself replaying the past, come back to your anchor place. This is not about controlling your mind. It's about guiding it, the way you guide a small child across a busy street, with care, with clarity, with calm authority. Here's an affirmation for that. I come back to one breath, one moment, one calm choice. And now, 2 lines for you to hold. Let them be simple. Let them be true. I am here now, and now is enough. I can meet this day with softness and strength. Good. Let those lines settle, not as a command, but as a permission. Now, I want to tell you a short story, not a big dramatic one, just a small morning moment that might feel familiar. Mira used to wake up with her mind already in motion. Before her eyes fully opened, she would feel the day pressing on her chest like a stack of books. Her thoughts would start counting. Emails, errands, decisions, conversations, the one einkward thing she said last week, the thing she needed to say today, the thing she feared someone might think. One morning, she was standing in the kitchen with a mug in her hand, and the kettle was heating, and her mind was racing through a list so fast she couldn't even catch the words. Jonah, her friend, had stayed over on the couch after a late talk the night before. He walked in quietly, rubbing sleep from his eyes, and he saw her staring out the window like she was trying to outrun something inside. He didn't ask her to explain. He didn't tell her to calm down. He just said softly, "What's the first kind thing you can do for yourself this morning?" Mira almost laughed because her mind wanted a bigger question, a more complicated solution. But she looked down at her own hands. They were gripping the mug as if it might fall. She loosened her fingers just a little. She said, "I can unclench." Jonah nodded like that was a victory. "Yes," he said, "start there." And something in Mira shifted. Not everything, not the whole world, but the atmosphere of her morning changed. She stopped trying to outrun her thoughts and started treating herself like someone worth helping. She took one slow sip. She felt the warmth in her chest. She looked at the light on the counter. She chose one next kind step. Later that day, when her mind tried to start the old spiral again, she remembered the question. She didn't solve her life. She simply unclenched, and the day became possible. This is what we're doing here. We're making the day possible. Let's do a tiny micro recap together. You've heard 3 key shifts. You don't have to solve your life before breakfast. Thoughts are visitors, not authorities, and kindness interrupts the loop. You've chosen an anchor. You've practiced returning. Now we add one more steady truth. Peace is a practice, not a performance. Some mornings will feel easier. Some mornings will feel sticky. Some mornings your mind will be loud. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. That means you're human. The goal isn't to become someone who never thinks. The goal is to become someone who can think without suffering, someone who can notice a thought without being dragged. So when your mind wanders, you don't scold it. You simply return. Returning is the practice. Every return is a quiet success. Every return is proof that you are not lost, even if you feel lost. Here is an affirmation that honors your effort. Every time I return to myself, I am winning something quiet and real. Sometimes the overthinking mind is also the tired mind, the mind that hasn't had enough rest, enough softness, enough permission. If that's you, offer yourself grace. You are allowed to go slower than your thoughts. You are allowed to learn a new way of being. You are allowed to be imply, perfect, and still be lovable. Let these be true, even if only a little at first. I am safe enough to be here. I am loved enough to soften. I am wise enough to take one step. And if your mind argues, let it argue. You don't need to win the argument. You only need to keep choosing the tone you live in. If you want a simple way to remember this ritual, think of 3 gentle actions you can do in any order. Notice, name, and nurture. Notice, my mind is running. Name, that's the spiral, that's the old habit. Nurture, here is the kinder sentence, here is the anchor, here is the breath. You can do that while brushing your teeth. You can do that while waiting for a page to load. You can do that while walking to the kitchen. It's small. It's real. It's yours. And now, my dear, I want to place a few more affirmations into your morning, like smooth stones you can carry in your pocket. I choose steadiness over urgency. I release the need to rehearse pain. I trust myself to meet what comes. I give my mind a softer job today. I belong to this moment. Let those words be options, not obligations. Pick one that feels believable. Even if it feels like a whisper, it counts. Because the quietest decision can change the whole day, the decision to stop fighting yourself. Overthinking often makes you feel as if you must earn your right to rest, but rest is not a reward for the perfect person. Rest is a basic kindness for a living one. So if you need to pause for a second today, pause. If you need to place a hand over your heart and remind yourself, do it. If you need to say not right now to a thought that is demanding your attention, you may. You are the keeper of your attention. You are the one holding the lantern. And the lantern can point to peace. There is something else that happens in the morning that few people talk about. The mind opens its eyes and immediately begins measuring. It measures what you did yesterday, what you didn't do, what you should do today, what you might fail at, what you might be judged for. It measures your worth by your output, your value by your speed, your safety by your ability to predict. But you are not a machine built to produce. You are a living person built to feel, to learn, to change, to rest, to begin again. So when the measuring begins, you can gently interrupt it. You can say, "Thank you, mind, but I am not available for scoring myself this morning." That sentence alone can be a doorway. Here's a truth line you can keep close. You are allowed to be unfinished. Unfinished means you are still becoming. Unfinished means there is room for growth without shame. Unfinished means you don't have to force yourself into a perfect version before you can be at peace. If the mind says, "But if I relax, everything will fall apart," answer with tenderness, "If I relax, I will see what truly needs my attention." There is a difference between care and pee. Panic is loud and urgent and insulting. Care is quiet, focused, and respectful. You can practice care. Let's choose a tiny ritual that belongs to your morning, one that you can do even on the busiest day. It has 3 parts, and you can repeat it whenever you notice the spiral. First, soften your face. Let your brow ease. Let your jaw unclench. You don't have to command your body. You simply offer it the option of less tension. Second, choose one sentence that feels like a hand on your back, something like, "I'm with you," or "We can do this slowly," or "This moment is manageable." Third, return to your anchor, the word, the breath, the sensation, the point of contact with now. That's it, softening, a kind sentence, and an anchor, simple enough to remember, strong enough to matter. And when you do it, even once, you're teaching your mind a new path. Sometimes overthinking is not only fear, sometimes it's grief. The mind replays because something hurts, and it doesn't know how to let it be hurt without trying to fix it. If there's a tender place in you today, I want you to meet it with respect. You don't need to solve it immediately. You can simply acknowledge it. You might say, "Something in me feels tender, and I can be gentle with that." Tenderness is not weakness. Tenderness is honesty. Here is another affirmation, simple and warm. I honor what I feel, and I do not have to drown in it. Now the mind loves to ask for guarantees. It wants certainty like a locked door. But life is a moving river. You can't freeze it without losing its beauty. So we practice something wiser than certainty. We practice trust. Trust is not pretending everything will be easy. Trust is the quiet confidence that you can meet what comes. If you've been carrying the belief that you must anticipate every problem to be safe, you can begin to loosen that belief, not all at once, not with force, with compassion. Try this. I release the job of predicting everything. I accept the job of being present. That is a relief your whole body can understand. And if your mind says, "But what about the future?" you can answer, "The future will arrive one moment at a time, and I will be here for it." Let's pause for another small pattern break, like a gentle reset. I choose to stop rehearsing what I cannot control. I choose to be kind to myself in what I can. Beautiful. That's the tone of a peaceful life. Not control, but kindness. Sometimes overthinking uses your imagination against you. It paints pictures of failure, rejection, catastrophe. The imagination is powerful, and it can be redirected. You don't have to stop imagining. You can choose what you imagine. For a few breaths, let your imagination paint a different scene, not a fantasy that denies reality, but a scene where you handle reality with grace. You show up, you do your best, you make a mistake, and you recover. You ask for help, you learn, you continue. You are allowed to imagine yourself resilient. Here is a truth line for that. Your future is not decided by a worried thought. A worried thought is not a prophecy. It is a signal. It may be asking for reassurance. It may be asking for preparation, or it may be asking for rest. When you notice worry, ask it gently, What do you need from me right now? Sometimes the answer is a practical step. Write down one task, send one message, set one reminder. Sometimes the answer is emotional. A kinder voice, a softer breath, a moment of acceptance. If it's practical, do the practical thing and stop there. Don't keep punishing yourself with extra mental loops. If it's emotional, give yourself the emotional care without arguing. You might like a small boundary phrase, not today, mind, or later, or thank you, but no. Those phrases are not denial, they are leadership. Overthinking tends to multiply. It takes one task and turns it into a lifetime of tasks. It takes one feeling and turns it into a story about your whole identity. So we keep returning to what is true right now. Right now, you are here. Right now, you are breathing. Right now, you can choose one kind thing. If you'd like a list of one-kind things, keep it simple. A glass of water, a stretch, opening a curtain, sending one honest message, placing your phone face down for a few minutes, stepping outside for a moment of sky. You don't have to do all of them, just one. Let one be enough, because enough is not a defeat. Enough is an exhale. I want to speak to the part of you that feels guilty for needing calm, the part that believes rest must be earned, that peace is only for people who have finished everything. My dear, you are allowed to receive peace in the middle of life, not only at the end of a perfect day. Sometimes the mind overthinks because it fears disappointment. It fears letting someone down. It fears being misunderstood. If you carry that fear, offer yourself forgiveness. You may have learned long ago that approval equals safety. That's a heavy job for your heart. Let's loosen it gently. You can say, I release the need to be perfect, to be loved. That doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop sacrificing yourself to fear. You can also practice a simple permission. I am allowed to be new at this. New at boundaries, new at calm, new at trusting yourself. Now, a moment of forgiveness can quiet the mind in a way logic cannot. Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you're ready to stop carrying poison in your own hands. If there is someone you're still arguing with in your head, you can try a gentle release, not dramatic, not forced, just an opening. I release this conversation from my mind for now. I give myself permission to live my morning. And if the person is you, if you're replaying your own mistakes, offer yourself the same grace. I did the best I could with what I knew. Then I am learning, I am growing, I am allowed to move on. This is an affirmation Louise would have loved in spirit, and it remains true without hype. I approve of myself more and more each day. You might not believe it fully today. That's okay. Let it be a direction, not a demand. Now remember Mira. Remember her hands unclenching around the mug. That's the practice in real time. The body receiving the message that it doesn't have to brace. Your body is listening to your words. When you speak gently, it hears safety. When you speak harshly, it hears danger. So choose your words like you would choose soft blankets. If your mind is especially loud today, try this compassionate stance. I'm not going to argue with you, mind. I'm going to care for you. And then do one small, caring thing. Drink water, sit in the light, stretch your neck, put one hand on your chest, return to your anchor. You are building a relationship with yourself. Relationships are built through repetition, not through one perfect moment. Let's do another micro recap to keep your attention anchored. You are not failing because you have thoughts. You are practicing because you are returning. You are allowed to be unfinished. You are learning the difference between care and panic. Now I want to offer you a morning promise that you can live inside today. I will not abandon myself in my thoughts. I will not bully myself into being okay. I will return to the present with kindness. Let that be your inner posture, not rigid, but devoted. And as you move into your day, your mind may try to pull you into 3 common traps. The first trap is the replay. What I said, what I should have said, what they meant, what I meant. When you notice the replay, bring the lantern back to now. The second trap is the rehearsal. What if this happens? What if that happens? When you notice the rehearsal, remind yourself you can meet the future as it comes. The third trap is the verdict. This means I'm not good enough. When you notice the verdict, replace it with a kinder truth. This means I'm human. You don't have to hate the mind for falling into these traps. You can simply guide it out over and over, like leading someone gently by the hand. Here is a strong, calm affirmation for that. I am the loving leader of my mind. Notice how different that feels from I must control my mind. Leadership is kind, leadership is steady, leadership doesn't panic. Now before we close, I want to speak to you as if you are standing at the edge of the day. The day is wide, the day has unknowns, the day may have challenges. And you are allowed to meet it with a softer body and a clearer mind. If you forget everything, remember your anchor word, remember the lantern, remember the vow to return without punishment. And if you want a gentle way to check in with yourself later, ask the question Anna asked Mira, what's the first kind thing I can do for myself right now? That question is a compass. It points you toward peace. One last affirmation to carry with you, quiet and true. I trust the timing of my life, and I trust my ability to meet it. You don't have to rush to be healed, fixed, or finished. You only have to be present and willing and kind. Before we finish, take a gentle inventory of what you already have, because overthinking often forgets your resources. You have breath. You have the ability to pause. You have one small choice available in every moment. You have the wisdom to ask for support when you need it. You have the right to be treated kindly, especially by yourself. If your mind tries to rush you, let your pace be your protection. Let calm be your courage. Let simplicity be your power. Even if today feels messy, you can still move through it with dignity. You are learning a new way to live inside your own head, and that deserves tenderness. And you can start again whenever you notice you've wandered. Let today be gentle, and let your mind learn quiet trust slowly. Now, as we come toward the close of this morning ritual, let's gather the thread of what you're carrying forward. You don't have to solve your life before breakfast. You can take one next kind step. Thoughts are visitors, not authorities. You can notice them and let them pass. Kindness interrupts the loop. You can speak to yourself like someone you love. One anchor is enough. One breath, one word, one calm choice. Peace is a practice, not a performance. Returning is success. If you remember nothing else, remember this. You can come back. You can come back to yourself 100 times in a day. Each time is an act of love. And now, a final blessing for you in a spiritual light way that asks nothing from you but openness. May your morning be gentle on your mind. May your thoughts soften into helpfulness. May your heart feel held by your own presence. May you meet this day with calm courage and quiet clarity. May you trust, little by little, that you are safe enough to be here. And if your mind tries to sprint again, smile at it like you would at a child who's had too much sugar, with compassion, with patience, with the steady knowledge that you can guide yourself home. My love, you are not behind. You are here. You are breathing. You are beginning again. I am here now, and now is enough. I can meet this day with softness and strength. Carry that with you, and let the rest unfold in its own time.